In 2012, most video game news seems to revolve around America. Well, to that.
We stand for Queen,
Country, and video games. BRB UK.
Worse teeth,
Better accents.
Hello, and indeed ahoy hoy, and welcome to episode 5 of BRB UK. We're back once again, even if you didn't want us to be. And my name is Dan, and I'm speaking to you from London, England. But I am joined, of course, by two other people I found on the internet. One of them's Tim. Say hello.
Don't say found on the internet, that sounds really dodgy.
Actually, no, I didn't. No, I found you in a queue, was how I met you.
Yeah, I'm not sure that sounds any better.
We were both very lonely. It was cold and dark outside.
No, this is getting worse.
What? Oh, we weren't meant to talk about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a man whose face I found on the internet is John.
Hello.
Hello. So
I have a face.
Yes, indeed you do. So how was the life of an extra busy and famous internet superstar this week, sir?
Sleepless, drug-ridden, alcoholic, the usual.
But no. I wasn't asking how it was to be Scottish.
Sorry,
I could not resist that. You just lined that one up.
To be honest, I was about to say it. I was going to write myself up for the joke, and then you beat me to it. So
yeah. Well, but no. I suppose last week you were taking the piss out yourself. So I thought, kind of, really, we shouldn't be asleep at the wheel, and we ought to kind of capitulate on these things.
Yeah, we can't let you have all the fun to yourself.
That's a big word. You've used a big word already.
I know. I've decided I'm going to use more big words.
Oh no!
What?
It just means me and John won't have a bloody clue what you're talking about.
Well, yeah, pretty much.
Thanks for that. Anyway, we are going to open this week with a funny story that I found about 10 minutes ago. So right now, South by Southwest is a thing that is happening.
In America, and in America, much to do with video games. So we're starting well on a Gaming UK podcast already.
Yes, but the reason we found this funny is because there's an advertising agency that have given, like, portable Wi-Fi hotspots to homeless people. And they've given them t-shirts that say on them, I am a 4G hotspot.
What the hell?
Not I am a person, right? I am a 4G hotspot.
Yeah, they are just a walking phone tower, right? So the whole idea is that if you're at South by Southwest and you really, really want some super fast 4G mobile internet, you can go up to them and give them some money. And I quote from the story on Wired, you can pay the homeless person a small fee in return for being able to sit near them and access your email.
But you see, there is a problem with that, because the average homeless person I've come across in London, and I really hope I'm not offending people here, but I blatantly will be, you want to sit as far away from them as possible, especially if you're downwind.
Yeah.
Well, maybe they gave him the t-shirt, the hotspot, and the shower. Right?
More of a smell spot than a hotspot.
A smell spot. But scratch and sniff. Anyway. The whole point is that the money does go directly to these homeless people. So if these hobos were lucky enough to be from the shelter that was given all these devices, then they can get a bit of extra money by basically walking around doing their best impression of a phone.
So do you think they only give it to well-groomed homeless people? Is that what we're saying?
Maybe they give them a shave and a shower and a hotspot and a t-shirt.
Nice. Well, but all I can say is the last time I paid a homeless person for actually a hotspot, didn't go well. Well. Oh, come on.
There's an innuendo in there.
There's an innuendo. Come on. Wakey, Tim. There's a knob joke in there somewhere.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it as a joke. I thought that was a serious thing. I thought you had paid a tramp for sexual favours.
Homeless hotspots aside, we do have a lot of stuff to talk about this week. We have Game, who are, to put it nicely,
they're so screwed,
in some trouble of some kind. And some little game called Mass Effect 3.
They're in their own hotspot. Hey!
Actually, they're soon going to be distributing hotspots around the streets of the UK. I'm sorry if you work at Game. I'm sorry.
We really don't want people at Game to be jobless, generally.
And there's a bunch of other video games as well.
There certainly is. So we've got a long show ahead of us, and we've got a lot to get through, so let's crack on with episode 5 of BRB UK. Now, unless you've been living under a complete rock for the past couple of weeks...
Complete rock?
A complete rock, yes.
No, not
as opposed to an incomplete rock?
An incomplete rock would leave some bit of you open to the elements, and therefore you would be able to be permeated by news.
You know some of what was going on, yeah?
Yeah, you would. You'd have a bit of a clue, but if you're completely or if you're under a complete rock, then you are kind of sealed off from the world around you, and you wouldn't know what the heck was going on. I think that sentence might have come out wrong, but never mind. So yes, basically, Game in the UK are completely rogered. They are totally rogered, and it seems to be going from bad to worse for them. we talked a couple of weeks ago about how my Vita had a sticker saying it wasn't actually the property of Game. We also talked about the lack of getting Ubisoft launch titles, and I had to rearrange my Mass Effect 3 Collector's Edition pre-order.
Along with the rest of the entire UK who had the pre-order too.
Yes, exactly. But I did manage to, thankfully, snap up some of the stock that became available at Zavvi before they all sold out.
See, I jumped over on a Play, so I got on over there as well. All good.
Big story here today is that Game are officially putting themselves up for sale to any potential buyers.
Absolutely. And this all started, they started off the trading day, didn't they, with their shares going down to 0.5. That's pence, not pounds.
Half a penny. You had
Half a penny.
In order to buy a share in Game, you had to give over 1 pence, and you had to buy 2 shares in order to buy a share in Game. But the real story here is that later, after this story broke, Game have, generally, there's been speculation saying that they would rather go bust, go out of business completely. And that makes sense, if that
it does.
Get what I mean. Because it basically means they can use a kind of resource which is known as pre-packaged insolvency, which means they can basically pack up all the game shops, give them to a new company, and these can be reopened right away, same employees and everything, as a different store.
Well, exactly.
Which means that somebody like, I don't know, GameStop! Or anybody else who's got their eye on it could think about investing.
Well, it makes sense, because going into administration essentially means they start on a clean sheet. Admittedly, not with a great credit history, but they essentially zero their balance books. And would allow them to move assets around should they need to. So it would make it a lot more attractive to an investor, but there may be a couple of weeks where Game just isn't around on the high street.
But I also think that it won't lead to every store being reopened.
A lot of stores will close, yeah.
Part of their problem was that they'd oversaturated the market anyway by buying 2 of their other competitors. It meant that they often had like 2 or 3 locations either on the same high street or in the same,
square mile or so, yeah.
Square mile, or even in the same shopping centre. I've seen it. So that wasn't a good approach for them anyway. So I think you'll see a lot of the stores kind of folding into one in some areas, and just some of the more major stores being bought up by one potential incomer.
But what's really bled them dry apparently is it's because Game doesn't just operate in the UK. I think they've got kind of franchises across Europe.
They have Spain. They have about 9 European stores, and they've got a big business in Australia in direct competition with GameStop as well.
And I think that is what's been driving them under. But even so, I mean, they're still generating a profit if you look at their figures for the last financial year in the UK, but their profit was about 15 million, and that is down by 45 million quid over the previous year.
That is also known in technical terms as lots of the money.
Yeah, lots of two monies. So yeah, I mean, I think it does depress me that I've seen a lot of people on the net go, Game get what they deserve. Well, actually, no, I don't think they do. I mean, true, they didn't do everything right in the marketplace. And
they kind of might have thought it was still the 1990s when it came to sales tactics.
Yeah, exactly. And, they found themselves in a rather indefensible position where they are charging the full whack for stuff, which, in this day and age, just doesn't make any sense.
They also didn't do themselves too many favours in the end by buying Electronic Boutiques and GameStation, because both of them were both examples of shops that were maybe not more popular in terms of high street presence, but were more popular with the people that shopped at them. You know what I mean? Like, they generally enjoyed the shopping experience more in both of those kind of stores.
But now the stores are effectively as bad as each other. Like, I had a job interview for GameStation a couple of Christmases ago, and it was exactly the same as a game interview I'd been for. I was given, right, and I pardon the pun here, but I was given a bunch of doggy poo disposal bags, and I was told, right, sell them to me. And I was like, how is this anything to do with video games? And at the end, I have learned, apparently, that a great way of selling doggy bags to people is to tell them you can use them for Halloween sweets, which I would never do in my f***ing life, if you know what I'm saying.
And you can use them after the Halloween sweets have gone through your system. It's a complete Halloween treat dispensing solution, I tell you.
Or you can use them to strangle the GameStation manager that gave you them.
Yeah, that's someone trying to be a bit too clever for their own good there, I think.
Yeah, and that's the whole point. It was just hawking. And
that has to change.
I was in Perth last week, looking at some stuff in game up there, and they were making this sale up as they go on. They've got a huge fire sale on starting from today. There's new PS3s going for £100. There's used 3DS going for just about 15 quid more than that. And the prices of some of the games as well, like a lot of pre-owned games are into about £1.
Yeah, I picked up 3 games today for like £1.98 each.
I went in at about lunchtime on this day, and they had Resistance free for 20 quid, and the complete edition of Fallout New Vegas for 25. And then later on the day, I went back, and they exactly the same games. They hadn't moved or anything, chopped the price down by $5. They were just making the sale up as they went along.
Yeah.
They're obviously getting memos through saying, right, just cut this, cut this, cut
They
this.
were
cut
lowering
this.
prices in the store as I was there.
Exactly.
Oh,
It is generally a case of, I think the firm has accepted they are probably going to go into administration, and this is just to try and ease the ride of it when that does happen.
I think they're doing everything they can to meet rent demands and stuff for the next couple of months by the looks of things.
Let's lighten the mood a bit by moving on to a game that Game haven't ever stocked.
Yeah, good link, John. Good link.
Thank you. It's Mass Effect 3, which I haven't played, so I will ask all the questions because I've not gone near it yet.
Oh, you're on the conversation wheel, yeah? Decide whether you're going Paragon or whether you're going Renegade, first of all.
I can go Renegade and tell you to shut the up with that kind of reference because it's not funny.
No, there's third way, Scotsman. Just be miserable and grumble about it. But first of all, John, before we go into Mass Effect 3, I want to find out why you haven't played it, you dullard.
Mainly because when Mass Effect 2 came out to PS3 at the start of last year, I bought a copy, I got a new copy with the Mass Effect 1 comic and stuff, and I grabbed a little bit of DLC, and then I started playing it, and then I never finished it.
Why?
A bunch of other stuff happened, like I had to review some other games and they kept piling up, and I kind of had to write a book, and
It's like one of my favourite games of all time. If not
I know, I liked it. I don't think it grabbed me in the same way that it grabbed you. I liked it, but at the same time, I wasn't completely enamoured with it. Like the one thing that basically sums up my thought of Mass Effect is that I will play it, I will love to play it,
you're wrong,
and I will love to finish it, but I couldn't be one of those people that goes, oh, I went through it, played it 20 times and I saved everybody every single time. It's like, I don't want to do that, you know?
No, but you don't have to do that.
Anyway, the point I'm trying to make here is that I like Mass Effect. I've just never gotten around to finishing the second one yet. I will pick up 3, but right now I'm curious. I want to hear your guys' thoughts, and generally, for the sake of me and everybody listening that hasn't finished it yet, let's try and keep it spoiler free.
But what I can't believe there, John, is that you're saying one of your reasons for not completing Mass Effect 2, and you managed to put in a sly plug for your book, even then. I had to write a book. I had to write a book.
Which you can buy online.
Anyway, Mass Effect 3.
We will keep this spoiler free. Okay.
Yes. It's bloody awesome is not too much of a spoiler. I went in having not seen any trailers and really kept myself as blinkered as possible. I'd seen a few bits on previews and stuff here and there, but I tried to keep any spoilers out of anything, and I'd still managed to raise my expectations for this game immeasurably. I still didn't know how it was going to live up to it, and I really can't see how anyone would be disappointed. It has continuously, from the bit I've played so far, I'm probably about 20 hours in or so now.
I'm about there as well.
I have heard that there's a bigger emotional punch this time round.
It's
so much more.
Again, spoiler free, but is there? Yes or no?
Yes, there is. There's a number of situations already that I found myself in with kind of characters that have become established through your playthrough. As far as I can work out, they may swap in and out depending who survived in the various previous games, where you have to make some really difficult calls about which is the lesser of two evils. This choice has got this advantage of getting the galaxy ready for war.
We're not talking black and white moral choices.
No,
basically.
absolutely
We're not talking in the same way, like there has been some stuff in Mass Effect which is a little bit, you'll get this, but you'll get this, but it's kind of, you can see the advantages and disadvantages of both. Whereas, is it a bit more muddied here, or is it just generally more difficult?
It definitely is, because at the end of the goal of Mass Effect 3 is to make the galaxy ready and unite everyone together to fight against the Reapers.
Who are
the bad, nasty robots who like eating people.
Big, bad, massive, evil, ancient robots.
Who look a bit like insects, who are very horrible in there.
And go brrrr.
Yeah, they do. They do that quite a lot. It's like mobile versions of the Inception soundtrack. It's shocking.
Yeah.
But there is kind of, obviously, one of the things is a lot of the various races don't get on well, particularly. So you're trying to play them off against each other, trying to work out, do I want support of them over the support of this particular race? So there's loads of really interesting decisions to be made. And all of them kind of, although at the end of the day, it ultimately affects a little bar, which is kind of your effective military strength of the galaxy. That's basically what it boils down to. But kind of the way that so many of these things are presented gives it real emotional weight as you're making a decision. it's, seriously, BioWare have done themselves proud so far. I mean,
Plus,
I haven't
for a
finished
lot
the
of
game.
people, it's the culmination of a saga which has lasted, we're talking about half a decade here.
Which you are emotionally invested in, because the choices
With their
you've made-
shepherd.
Exactly. Which
Yes.
And Tim wrote a really good article on this. All the silliness around Mass Effect 2 about you've got to get everyone to survive to make it.
I didn't write an article on that. Someone
else did. You might have edited it then. Someone's written an article on that. It's brilliant. Basically, I mean,
I think it was Corey who said that don't play this story, play your story.
yeah.
Play whichever story, and it was really good actually. That made me think that actually he's right. I don't want to play everyone else's story. I want to play my version of the story. I don't necessarily want to make that a perfect story. And I've noticed in my playthrough that I'm doing, I'm generally going Renegade, but I've actually got more Paragon points at the moment.
Yeah.
Even though my eyes are evil glowing red because I'm a high level Renegade, I'm still going around doing stuff and getting Paragon points.
You shouldn't have picked that scab on your face, mate. When you had all those Cerberus, you shouldn't have picked it. Look what's happened.
My Shepherd looks really rough as well, and I noticed that we were saying about this being a long-spanning game. I noticed I was quite immature when I started this game. The name of my Shepherd that I forgot until I fired my game up.
Is it Buttmonk?
Yeah.
Buttmonk, Shep.
Well, considering she's a lesbian femshep, I went with
tits.
Muff Diver Shepherd.
Hot hairy tits.
Muff Diver Shepherd.
Nice.
Really? And
But,
now
you know-
you're sitting and loading it up and you're thinking, right, Muff Diver Shepherd, it's time to
my
save the
word.
world.
Save the universe with Muff Diver Shepherd. It was originally my secondary playthrough thing, but anyway, it's kind of taken over in my first. But
No.
But yeah, it's other than that aside. But I have actually seen a bit behind the kind of smoke and mirrors of what's going on a little bit with people surviving and not surviving.
Yeah.
Just because through one bit, without going spoilers at all, I'm going to keep it spoiler free. But with a bit that I saw in a preview that was, I think, part of the demo as well, and the bit that I've now played through, I've seen it both ways. And it was a character that was
as
in...
Muff Diver Shepherd may have, of course,
Yeah,
seen
exactly,
in her convoluted sexual history. She may have had it both
have done.
ways.
I thought we couldn't ruin this segment.
But no, I've seen it with the character surviving from the second
Yep.
game and with him not surviving, and all it did was kind of substitute character, but it did make the story a bit different and worth actually seeing it without that person.
That couldn't have been any more confusingly cryptic if you had tried, Tim.
Well, I'm trying not to keep it absolutely spoiler free.
There are a couple of instances where there are just clear bits where characters can swap in and out. Okay, this is going to be a Mass Effect 1 spoiler, okay? The decision you made whether to sacrifice Caden or Ashley.
Ah, okay, so like I said, that was more black and white than some of the stuff we've got
but
here.
I
really.
wonder, are their characters essentially interchangeable with respect to Mass Effect 3? I don't know, because I've gone through from my original playthrough. But there are a couple of instances where you do think, perhaps actually that's rather a cosmetic change if that person survived or didn't. And there are some scenes in the game, where honestly I don't know if that person did die, what would have happened
Whether
to the
it'd
story.
make any difference.
But
or...
I don't know whether or not it was feasible for that person to have died in Mass Effect 2 or not. I'm going to go back and replay the whole trilogy and make deliberately different choices just to see
Anyway, let's push away from the story a bit, right? And I mean, how are some of the gameplay changes? Like in the demo,
Really good.
they kind of the way you can customize your Shepherd's abilities and that was expanded out in the way that Mass Effect 1 was.
Yeah.
How is that in the long term, rather than just 5 minutes in the demo going, oh, fiddle, 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 fiddle?
I found the armour very confusing at first.
Yeah.
That was a bit weird. But
In
other
what
than
way?
that, it's because it's all a bit kind of streamlined, and where you had easy costume changes before, and where you'd actually make amendments to armour and add things on and stuff like that. More so in the first one than the second one, but it's kind of a bit in between the two. It's not gone the full RPG route. It's kind of slimmed things down quite a lot, but you can still fiddle with some.
I mean, a bit like kind of the weapons have gone modular. I think that's well known.
Yeah.
Components you can swap in and out. The armour's a bit similar, so you can have the N7 shoulders while wearing a different chest plate from a different set of armour. And there are kind of special sets of armour which come as a set, like Terminus armour. I was going to name another set of armour, but that might be a spoiler.
Basically, there's lots of armours.
Yeah, and they do make a real change, what weapon damage you do, your health recharge rate, your shield recharge rates, and I'm really, really loving the weapon customization as well.
Yeah, what character are you rolling with, Dan?
I am rocking a male Vanguard at the moment.
Okay, well, I've got a female soldier, so that's a bit of a difference in trade. I mean, that means I go all weapons heavy and just get I generally just use incendiary ammo on everyone because that burns.
Yeah, incendiary ammo is the way forward. But it's kind of got some harking back to the Mass Effect 1 equipment where, like the guns, there's various models, like kind of the Tempest 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which are progressively better. But you've got to be a little bit careful about how you select your loadout, because you have essentially every item has a weight, and there isn't like a hard inventory thing where you start walking at a snail's pace if you go over it.
Thank God.
But it limits the rate at which your powers recharge. So if you're overburdened, it takes forever for like your biotic or your tech ability to come back.
So that's not too much of a problem for me as a soldier. It means I can carry all 5 weapons, and the minus 200 thing doesn't actually bother me that much. But I play it without a pistol, and that means that my recharge rate's like half or less than that, and so that helps a little bit. But
it really does give you. I love the customization of being able to do it, and you can really set the weapon. You can set your loadout how you want, which is brilliant, and obviously is repeated in the multiplayer as well.
Yeah, I mean, and one thing that I like doing, and everyone else welcome to have a look. I think it's a good way of doing things, but I run it so that my my sniper rifle and my shotgun are for dealing really slow firing heavy damage, and I just concentrate 100% damage on them, which is what I kind of focus all my other bonuses on. So I just really, really damage people when I hit things with that, basically. And the spike launcher thing, I've been using that, the spike thrower, I think they call it. But
yeah. But I mean, all in all, the controls have been really tightened up. The cover-based gameplay feels a lot better. The plot, as we've already said, is fantastic. I haven't touched much of the multiplayer yet.
No, I haven't dived into that yet. Just because every time I fire it up, I go, okay, I could do some, I could dive in and do a bit of multiplayer. That would be fine.
He got caught up in the dense foliage, John. He couldn't get past it.
But then, every time I think of it, I just think, well, but there's that bit that I'd quite like to see what's happening with the new guy in one player.
The good news is you can actually apparently get the best ending without going through the multiplayer, because the multiplayer, like some of the add-on products like Mass Effect Infiltrator, basically just act as a multiplier. So when you're collecting war assets, each of them has a numerical value, and that gets multiplied by your galactic readiness rating to give you your effective military strength. You can collect enough stuff.
It's a clever way of doing it
to fill it up. So there we go. But me and Tim kind of have to say is neither of us have got to the end yet. I've got so caught up in all the side missions, and all of which there's this really addictive thing about collecting every war asset that you can. It's not too Pokemon. Don't worry.
Is there any mining?
I thought there was going to be. It was scary. When I dove down into a planet, the little crosshairs showed up. I was like, oh God, no. But
that's one thing I don't get at the moment, actually. Scanning's a bit weird, no? Like, you have to go near a planet, scan it, and then you get to drop a probe once. It's a bit weird.
Planet scan it.
That's how they do it for real in Mass Effect World, which is real.
It's a little different. What you do, as you're flying around each system, you can kind of ping your sensor beaacon, and that can reveal...
That's what she said.
Yeah, if you can find it underneath the dense foliage, of course, while you're diving down there. But as you kind of ping it, there's within a range. It will reveal. Thank you. It will reveal kind of hidden assets, like it could be money, could be. Oh God!
I swear you're doing this on purpose. Anyway, before I'm going to stop you there before you start making anything else up.
All I was going to say, John, about kind of the scanning is there's a risk reward thing. The more times you ping your scanner, Tim. Thank you. That increases the risk of the Reapers being alerted to your presence. So
have you ever done it too much so that they do come and...
Yeah, it's a bit crap. It all goes a bit Benny Hill. Your little Norman gets chased around by Reaper ships.
So basically, Mass Effect is a game of pinging dense foliage, muff diving, and using probes.
You heard it here first.
And it comes very recommended, I'm assuming.
Yes.
Yeah. It's awesome, though. Don't let us waffling nonsense about it put you off. It's a very good... Like, the controls are tight. It's a very good, like, shooting mechanic game, and a very, like, epic story game as well.
Yeah, and the only reason why we've had to waffle on such tangential things is the fact that we can't really say too much without spoilers, because I would hate to take the experience away from anyone who's listening to this.
Want to be those people.
Yeah. So there we go. But as I mentioned in passing, I've been playing something else to do with Mass Effect, and that is Mass Effect Infiltrator. On iThings, which is basically meant to tell another chapter in the Mass Effect 3 story, where you're playing as a Cerberus agent who is working on some Cerberus lab where they're stealing alien beings and doing experiments on them. You get a bit fed up with this, so you rebel. And it's much like the Big Brother title. It's a cover-based shooter. The controls are akin to the Dead Space games on iOS, which are fantastic, where there's kind of the virtual joysticks are actually mapped over either half of the screen, and you don't have to put your thumb down on a specific area. So you think this is all sounding rather good.
Yeah, it's sounding good.
But it isn't. Because the way it works is an odd hybrid between kind of joystick shooters and kind of pointing at things to fire at them. So,
I love doing that.
So I know. Shoot that! It's bad! Shoot in the face! The problem is it does feel clunky. So you run forward and you automatically go into cover. Right, that sounds like a good start.
Yep.
But if you want to shoot anything, it has to be within a certain range, depending on what weapon you're using. And then, to attack them, you've got to tap on the enemy, and then you've got to tap on them again to fire. And then after you've shot them, you need to tap again to go back into cover.
So wait, after they've died, you need to tap again?
Yes.
Oh.
And your gun can overheat, Mass Effect 1 style, which is a mechanic which
Did you say your thumb or your gun?
Your thumb.
I thought you said your thumb
can overheat.
You're locking on too long. Ow, 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 ow.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, thankfully, that I haven't coated my iPad screen in sandpaper, so my thumb's not getting too hot. You idiot.
So it's not as good as, say, Dead Space was on the iPhone.
No, I mean, I think the problem is that it's trying too hard to emulate the kind of the action-packed sequences on the console. Sometimes sometimes you're getting rushed by so many enemies that the interface is just too clunky to be able to take them out. And that's really annoying, where the game is trying too hard.
If a game mechanic's fighting against you harder than the enemies, that's not something you want.
Yeah, exactly.
But it helps you with Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, it does. I mean, the way it does it is that as you run through levels, you come across bits of intel, Cerberus intel, that you can pick up and then upload to the war effort, and that improves your galactic readiness rating. So every couple of ones you pick up, you get a 1% added to it. In much the same way, that's the way the multiplayer progress contributes to it. It alters your galactic readiness rating. But I'm not sure I can be arsed. I mean, it's terrible. It sounds really bad to say, but, it could be good. I mean, the graphics are good. The storyline's okay, I suppose.
Do you think they would have been better off going more of a story route than trying to emulate the mechanics of the game?
Absolutely. A relatively slow-paced, story-driven game would actually suit something like the iPad or the iPhone very well. And, fine, have the occasional action sequence. But, why Dead Space works so well is that generally the enemies were quite lumbering and slow, and the pace of the game suited it. Whereas this, which requires, essentially quick changes of direction, coupled with the interface they've gone for, basically you can't react in time to what's being thrown at you, and it's a bit of a shame, really.
That sucks.
Yeah, but
so
it is eclipsed by the fact that Mass Effect 3 is awesome, and you won't care if you've played Mass Effect 3. So,
exactly.
So, there we go. So, buy it if you're a completionist, but really...
Otherwise, just stick to Mass Effect 3.
Yeah, I think.
Which you will if you're a normal person.
Yes, unlike you, who hasn't played it.
Yeah. Well, we're in the space between this segment and the last. Tim has just said to Dan, in the middle of this segment, he has just said, quick journey, please. So I think Dan should take us on a quick journey through Journey.
Okay, I want to do something for you in a dramatic reading. Okay.
Oh, please.
Just a small-town girl.
Right, stop right there. Tell us about Journey the game.
Living in a lonely world.
No, stop quoting Journey lyrics at us and tell us about the game that has nothing to do with the band.
That was funny before I was born.
No, it wasn't.
And you were 10 years old at the time, so that's why
Trust
you thought
me,
it was funny
I was there. It wasn't.
Well, actually, in all fairness, the line, just a small-town girl living in a lonely world, is actually rather apt. Apt, I tell you, for Journey, because you are playing a girl who is navigating
You're
a
playing
desert,
a girl.
which is empty, lonely, if you will.
Even.
Yes. So that does make some sense. But Journey is a game from the people who bought you Flow and Flower. That game
so it's the first game that doesn't begin with an F.
Indeed. But it is fucking awesome, which does begin with an F.
But basically, it's kind of an adventure-y, platformy kind of thing, in a way, isn't it?
It is. I mean, it's kind of...
With scarves in the desert.
Scarves are involved. Thank you, Tim. But it is... There's no dialogue.
I don't understand this game.
There's no dialogue in this game, and basically the setup is you are in a desert and you're going on essentially a pilgrimage to the top of this mountain.
A journey, even.
Yeah, a journey, if you will, where you will get, some kind of spiritual redemption or something. It's not quite entirely clear. It just
certainly isn't.
Think, that doesn't sound very interesting. You're wandering across the desert. For a start, the game is beautiful. The soundtrack is amazing.
If it's good enough for Drake, it's good enough for everyone else. Right?
But the really interesting thing is because there's no narrative, you find yourself, almost like with a book, you find yourself filling in the gaps and almost working out what you think the story would be. So the experience you have as you play it is very personal.
But what makes Journey most interesting for me when I previewed it last year was the fact that at any point in the game you can come across other people taking the same journey as you.
Yes, absolutely.
And you have to kind of work together.
Good choice of words.
But the really interesting thing is here, you're given no information about them. You just know they're there. You don't
not even their PSN name or anything. Nothing.
No, you don't get that. And the only way you can communicate is by kind of pressing outside the triangle or circle, I can't quite remember, which emits a little sound. And quickly you start to develop your own kind of language with the other person. And that's really interesting. So, this means yes, this means no, this means follow me. There are no areas in the game where it's absolutely essential that you have to help each other out, but there are some sections that are certainly made easier. And, you can signal, I found something to power up your scarf. Now, before Tim rolls his eyes anymore about mentioning the words powering up your scarf.
Powering up what?
Yeah, your scarf. Your scarf is like a little meter, which allows you to... The more scarf you have, the further you can fly. And...
The hell?
Yeah, I know. But believe me,
it's a bit arsey, bear with us.
It is a bit arsey, but it's kind of... That engenders some cooperation.
A bit arsey, maybe.
Yeah. That engenders some cooperation as well, because your scarves recharge when you're in close proximity to one another. So whilst you could run off into the distance and go, see you later, bye, stupid slow person, it actually makes sense to help each other out. It's one of those games that, that sound... It is deceptively simple, but it's actually quite a beautiful storytelling experience. And I realise I sound like I'm about to disappear up my own arse as I say this. But it really... it's only about...
It's a tenner.
It's a tenner. It is short. You can do it in a 2-hour sitting, but it's something you could experience in many different ways going through it multiple times.
Would you say it's worth the tenner?
I would.
For the first 2 hours at least, and then, if you do replay it again and again and again.
Yeah. It is genuinely... it's very unique, much like that game's company's other games.
Have you only played it through the once, though, yeah?
I've played it through twice.
Okay, and it was significantly different?
Yeah, the experience I had was different due to the different people I was coming across. And you understand the game world a bit more. No, Tim,
Sorry,
come on.
You've been saying it repeatedly. I tried to ignore it the first time.
It's not that I said I came on them now, is it? Quiet in the background.
This podcast is rated PG-13.
Oh dear, I'm obviously not as mature as I thought I was.
No.
Yeah, you really. I think you need to go and take a wee journey of your own and learn some stuff about what it means to be a real man. Anyway, so you would recommend
it involves scarves. And no, I didn't wipe it on the scarf after I was finished, Tim. Thank you very much.
You would recommend Journey, essentially, is what you were trying to say in the middle of this festival of immaturity and giggling.
Oh, come on, there were so many lines. Go back and listen to that whole thing. Every line Captain said in the whole thing was just...
Tim's just bored because this is a game without guns and explosions, I think.
It actually sounded quite cool. I actually read reviews of this and made it sound cool. You made it sound so gay.
You made it sound very wanky, pardon the pun.
Yeah.
Anyway, we should talk about a game that does have explosions and stuff in it.
Yeah, so Tim, you'll be happy with this.
Oh, explosions.
It does have the word unit in the title.
Explosions in the palm of your hand we're talking about now.
Yeah, you've got a high-powered handheld unit. Yes, you do.
You guys are so... You guys make me look mature, serious. Yeah. Come on.
So, Unit 13 is on the Vita, and yes, Tim, it is handheld. Well done, sir. And you are part of a US, I think, unit who's going off to Durkistan, Kelsa Breeze, to go and save the world.
Team America, yeah?
Yeah, Team America, basically. And there's a series of 40, I think, is it 40 missions? I think it's 40 missions. A buttload of missions, which you have to progress through. The story's relatively thin, but, you know, where this game does well, it's all about kind of pick up and play for 10 minutes, then put it back down. And there are 40 missions, each of which has like a main story mode, and then also each one has a randomly generated mission that you can play on that level. So there's some replayability. There's a good couple of character classes, all of which can get individually leveled up. So you've got like your sniper, your recon stealthy bloke, you've got your kind of tank guy who's
heavy weapon dude, basically.
Yeah, heavy weapon dude, and a character who's a mix between all of them. And as you level each character up, they get different perks and unlocks and stuff. And what's unique about the game is the scoring system, because it's not just about getting points for killing a person, it's about how you take them out. Did you get headshot?
Headshot!
Did you get to kill them in a certain number of bullets? And each class has different scoring perks.
I just add that I have been playing this as well this week, because I've had a lone Vita as well, and that's one of the games I've been playing some time on as well, because, yeah, it's quite good. It seemed quite interesting.
But it's going to have something that... its mechanics are quite run-of-the-mill dual-stick shooter.
Yeah, but that's not a bad thing considering it's on a handheld, no?
Yeah, and they've really played well to the strengths of what a handheld is. So brief bits of action that you can just pick up and play.
Frequent checkpointing, I'm assuming?
Yeah, there are, but each level's only about 10-15 minutes long at most.
Some of the longer levels I've noticed they've given multiple checkpoints, and some of the shorter ones it's just like it's a 3-minute mission anyway, so there's not much point for checkpoints. So.
But there's a real good variety in the missions. It's not just shoot all these dudes, get to the end, you win, profit, fun and happiness happens. But there are, like, you've got to take out specific targets, or you've got to get through a section without being detected, and, you know, there are some nice kind of little nods of the head to like the MGS style of gameplay as well.
Even though there's something to be said for the whole, like, and I'm not saying let's abandon stories, because it's one of the major motivators. We're just talking about how much we like the story in Mass Effect 3, but there is something to be said, especially on a handheld, for being able to just have multiple missions that even if you do get stuck on that mission, you don't have to just, you know, bang your head against a brick wall for that mission. You can go on to another mission and come back to that one later. You know what I mean?
But, I mean, where it's going to have replay value is obviously all the missions have leaderboards and stuff, as do the randomly generated missions. But there's also a daily challenge where you're competing to get to the top of a leaderboard as well, which, you know, should keep the game quite fresh. And that's always a new, different mission every single day.
And I think there's co-op as well, actually. We might have to try some of that.
Yeah, there is co-op. Yeah, we ought to give that a go. I mean, I haven't tried that yet, but I'd imagine, as far as I know, it's on the same maps, I think. Please do correct me if I'm wrong. But I can see that being reasonably good fun.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, I think Zipper made some very brave design choices and tailoring it specifically to a handheld,
but sensible choices as well.
Yeah, although I loved Uncharted on the Vita, and it is a great game, it is a console experience you can take with you. That does not necessarily mean it's the best kind of game for a handheld, whereas I think this probably is.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. From everything I've seen, this is a game that I'd want on my system, basically. It's a good sort of third-person action game and good bit of variety, and well-suited for being on a handheld platform as well. So, yeah, quite good. And just...
Was this actually out yet?
Yeah, and just on an expanded note from that as well, obviously I've had some extended hands-on time with the Vita, and
with your unit.
Much like you said as well, Kat, Dan, that you do kind of get used to the twin analog sticks, of the position of it and stuff like that. They still seem a little low for me somehow, but generally I think the unit is very nice, actually. Me wants one. I'm just borrowing this one for a week.
So you put a unit in your unit, yo?
A unit in your unit, yeah. No, but as I said, just borrowing this for the week, and it's made me want one, so I might have to wait for the next price drop, possibly, but I'll definitely be picking one up at some stage, I think.
But, good news, chaps, on the issue of analog sticks, and I'll shut up and we'll get to the Great British Debate, I promise. I spent £5 on eBay last week for little plastic nubs to put on top of the Vita stick. To, yes, I know, nubs, units.
Wait, are they little kind of Xbox style?
Yeah, where it's kind of like it's kind of indented in the middle, so your thumbs actually fit nicely on it.
Oh, that'd be nice.
And it greatly improves playing on the Vita. So just search for PS Vita.
We'll put kind of a concave rather than kind of convex.
Exactly. Well done. See, you learnt some words. I was
trying to remember which one was which from my first year science. Okay.
Okay. Concave goes in because it's like a little
cave. That's what you need to remember it. See.
And pretentious tit means you're a pretentious tit. Let's go and debate some stuff. Well, as usual, that music means it is time for the Great British Debate. Mass Effect 3 came out this week, in case you were under half a rock or a normal rock or whatever.
A complete rock. I think you're fine.
And a lot of people with far too much time on their hands have finished the game already and immediately written a lot of angry letters to EA and BioWare complaining about the game's ending. Saying that they didn't like it. We're not going to talk about why they didn't like it for the sake of spoilers and that, but generally the feel has been for some people that they just didn't like it, and they've launched this huge internet petition even just to say, I want to change the ending and they should change it because
seriously,
we
how
say
bloody
so.
Cheshire is that? Oh, we ought to write a petition and get very angry about it.
Anyway, the question we are asking this week is that are the people who want to change Mass Effect's 3 ending just being far too entitled for something? Okay, they've paid money for it, but people have spent years making this game and writing the script and doing everything involved with it, so are they being entitled and wanting to change it? Arguing that yes, they are is Dan.
Hello.
And arguing that no, they're not, they are perfectly entitled to do so is Tim.
So I'm arguing they're entitled to moan.
Yes.
Yes.
Right.
Something should be right up your alley, mate.
Yes, exactly.
You do a lot of moaning, let's face it.
Pretty
No, I
much.
bloody don't. How dare you say that? That's not fair.
Anyway, as per usual, the Great British Debate is 2 30-second debates set to the glorious music of Countdown, and these two get 30 seconds each to duke it out. So Dan, if you are ready, you have 30 seconds to explain why the Mass Effect 3 ending haters are in the wrong, starting from now.
Well, let's face it, haters are going to hate. It's like if you read a book and you don't like the ending, do you write a letter to the author going, I didn't like the ending, you need to change it for everyone who ever reads it ever again? No! That's nonsense! Just because you don't like the ending doesn't... Why don't you like it? Is it because it wasn't what you wanted it to be? It's a story that someone else is telling you. You're not going to be able to decide what it is unless you live in a world where you think these go to page 12 books are the height of storytelling excellence. And if you do, you're an idiot. What?
Don't you say anything bad against Choose Your Own Adventure books, bastard.
They were great. They were great when I was 3.
I liked them till I was 7. Anyway, Tim, you now have 30
I liked
seconds.
them till at least yesterday.
Tim, you now have 30 seconds to explain why the people that do not like the Mass Effect 3 ending feel like they should be entitled to change it, starting from now.
People are perfectly within their rights to moan. They have been emotionally invested and encouraged to emotionally invest themselves in this story for a number of years. It's a big emotional investment over a big period of time, and of course people are going to get hair up in exactly where they saw the story going, and it's not necessarily right that EA or BioWare should listen, but people have the definite right to voice their opinion, and if their voice is strong enough, then things can change. You never know. I don't think that'll necessarily be the case, but hey.
Hang on, did he say if they shout loud enough they might get heard, but BioWare and EA don't have to listen?
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you just said they don't have to listen.
They don't have to.
So what's the point of moaning?
Because
he was arguing that he wasn't arguing about BioWare and EA. He was arguing that they can be entitled rather than anything to do with BioWare and EA. But he still made a bunch of rubbish points.
Well, no. The major point was that you're missing is that I'm saying people are entitled to moan, and they are entitled to moan. And if enough people do moan and make a big fuss of it, then maybe something will change. But I don't think that will be the case. I think the minority of people will be the ones complaining.
Hey, news just in. I'm bored. Can we decide who wins, please?
Yeah, let's move on.
Basically, Dan wins
Hey!
because it is a story that has been crafted for about half a decade now. They obviously had in mind what they wanted to do for a while, and just that's that. Deal with it. If you don't like it, go back and play it and get a different ending.
Yeah, do that. Yeah. But I think I would never feel like an urge to write to somebody who wrote a comic or wrote a book or wrote or directed a movie saying, I didn't think your ending was very good. You should... This idea of entitlement, they can tell BioWare to change it for everybody who plays it again in the future is utter madness.
Yeah, because no one did that for, Star Wars films or anything, Hey.
Yeah, well, George Lucas went, oh, that's interesting, I've got a load of money and an awesome beard, so bugger off. That's basically what he did.
Anyway, we are running long even. Short.
We are schlong.
Short on time, maybe?
We're running schlong.
Anyway, we have a competition this week. because we got lots of iTunes review this week since we asked you all really nicely.
We do, but we also have to do a competition first, John.
Yes.
I
Don't get ahead of ourselves just because we're running out of time.
No, I was saying we had a competition this week because we got lots of iTunes reviews.
We did. And this week we're giving away a special edition of Alan Wake for the PC. So, Tim, how will people win this?
I'll point out it's not entirely a special edition, but it does come bundled with all the bonus content that was originally on the 360 as part of the PC version. But it's a very nice, big box, brand new copy of the game, basically.
Yeah, the quite nice edition. Yeah,
Indeed.
okay, good.
And we're going to have a slightly amusing caption competition this week. Come along to the forums, have a look at the picture we're going to put up and come up with a caption. I think you're going to have to be quite imaginative.
It is a very, very funny screenshot of Alan Wake we are putting up. Just your
excellent.
typical Alan Wake screenshot. It's a pretty good one. So we just want you to look at this picture, study it, analyse it.
And you know how it's going to be funny? Tim put on his special accent for it. That's how you know it's going to be funny.
Anyway, come to the forums, sign up if you don't have an account, study the photo, analyse it, just give it the once over and think of a funny caption for it, and the best one will win the copy of the game.
And on that note, by now there should already be winners for our 2 Model Normandy competition that will be up on the front page of the site, and also for we forgot to run the winners for the caption competition that we did last time, so I'll put the winners up on that thread on the forums as well. So come check those out, make sure you see who's won.
If you want to win anything at BigRedBarel.com, the only thing we ask is that you sign up for a user account with us. So that way it's easier for us to send you the awesomes. So there we go. So that is a show, gents, I do believe. So we ought to say thank you to a couple of people.
Was it?
Yep, it was a show.
Will it be?
A very dodgy one that involved the word schlong, unit, and scarf-related
mishaps.
Bad things. So yes, so we'd like to say thank you to a couple of people for being very kind on the forums and on iTunes. So from the UK on iTunes, I would like to say thank you to Pack308, Liam McM, Mark Gardner, who wants some of Tim's secret stash apparently. The Toaster left a review, but I'm ignoring him. Grim Shredder,
no toast.
Coiled String, Graham Martin, The Phenomenal C, Gaza44, Glyn Meracia, and Sky Dark.
And from the US section of the iTunings, I would like to thank Stink Palm Red Bull Jack, who says the show is funnier than his wife thinking she'll get custody of the children, which is quite a worrying sentence. Anyway,
and a worrying little insight to how things are going at home for Red Bull Jack. We hope it's all right.
Well, we hope that's all okay, and maybe just comedy in your life. But anyway, hello, and yes, that's good. Anyway, Cosmic Yoshi, Juggle Boy 360, and then from the Aussie sections of the iTunesings, we would like to thank Redog2677 and Jay Crosrow, who says he
need to get
gets
your reading glasses.
News and weekly comedy and your face. Whose face? My face? Someone's face?
Your own face.
Probably my face.
Your face. Okay.
Probably my face.
Yeah.
Anyway, from the BigRedBarel.com forums, I would like to thank Tardy Moments, RF Magana, Fixday, the Cypriot Chappie, Tardy Moments, and Zero Requiem. So thank you very much, one and all, for all your reviews. Keep them coming in. Keep all the reviews coming in. We do appreciate them. We do love them. And if you keep them coming in, you get to win nice things every single week.
Another competition next week.
Yeah, more competitions next week, and thank you for all the iTunes love. It was quite funny, I must say. When we say, if you want a competition, leave us some iTunes reviews. And then mysteriously, we get 20. So anyway, thank you for listening to the show. Thank you for leaving a review. If you have, come check out www.bigredbarel.com and say hello to us on the forums. So, we're going to get out of here. I've been Dan.
I might have been Tim, I guess.
And unlike Game, we will be back next week.
Hey-oh! Hey-oh! And who have you been, John?
Yeah, sympathies to employees, but generally...
It was I'm sorry, it was there. I took the bait.
Yeah.
I am a bad man.
Yeah,
let's get out of here.
Man.
Yeah. So until next time, dear listeners, toodle bye.
You and your ears are quite welcome for the podcasting goodness that you just heard. Why not roll on over to BigRedBarel.com for more podcast, news, reviews, and videos from the biggest, reddest site on the internet, BigRedBarel.com.